Hello, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Untold, the show where we have brilliant people. And today's episode is an exception to that because we have way more than that. We have an extraordinary person who has been through all of the cinematic world here in the Middle East. But first, I'm your host, Abdullah AlHendyani.
And I'm your host, Lujain AlAtheri, and today we're joined by Alfaroq AbdulAziz, who's a film critic, producer, and writer who's been so established in the past few years and has had a generation of film criticism and has kind of built the Arab world in terms of, film and all that. And I think it's going to be so amazing to talk to a legend like him.
He is honestly, his career when it comes to movie criticism and talking about cinemas, establishing cinematic clubs, especially here in Kuwait and also in the Arab world. He has been all over the world talking about movies, his love for movies, his passion of film critique. He's a man that's really all about cinema. So as someone who's also all about cinema, I am so looking forward to sitting down, talking to him, looking at his lifetime of so many great moments when it comes to cinema.
I agree, and I think I'm so curious to see how he got into, criticizing film. He's also a producer. He studied English literature, and to be able to see how all of that kind of becomes one and create someone as amazing as him and everything he has to say, I think we should just dive in and see how everything goes. So with that, we are going to go on to the episode, so stay tuned for after the break.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, on a very special episode with our distinguished guest, Alfaroq AbdulAziz. Welcome for being our guest tonight at the Untold.
Thank you. It's an honor.
It's an honor. It's an honor to have you. And honestly, you have such a well-established reputation as a film critic, producer, and writer. But I want you to take us back all the way to the beginning. What made you fall in love with cinema?
Well, actually, it's my father first of all. I mean, he loved cinema. So, and I was very good at school, always high marks all the time. So I would come home and eat and then do my homework and then I'm free. He would say, okay, come with me. So I started watching movies with him 3 times a week.
MashaAllah.
So I was the only kid who had been to cinema 3 times a week. I'm actually most of the kids will go to an Eid and during Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Fitr, but not during the week. But of course, because of the reputation when you were young, everybody was saying, "Oh, don't go cinema. This will waste your time. This you have to study. You have to study." But I was very good anyway. So he always all my report cards were beautiful, wonderful. So he loved it, and he loved me. He took me to the cinema. So I fell in love with the medium, and of course this was I can tell a lot of stories about that. But once I went to check the bathrooms. It was behind the screen. So the first time ever I watched what's happening behind the screen. I thought the film was like a magic, and I don't know what's this medium anyway. I love it. I cry, I laugh, I do whatever. So behind the screen, I said, oh, this is a screen then. So the film must be something magic played on a screen, which I can see the back now. And this helped me to try to get in touch with the filmmaking. With how I started by reading books in my high school. I read the George Sadoul's dictionary. It's kind of the history of cinema of the world.
Yeah,
he's a very very well-known French critic and historian of film, and I got his book. It's about 6 volumes, and I read it all during my high school years. Actually, in the second year. And I finished it and became like aware of the films produced in US, produced in Brazil, produced in Egypt, and has it all.
Yeah.
So I became very much interested in the medium. Again, started to be enlightened about it. Much more higher than anybody else, of course, in my generation.
Yeah. And honestly, the thing about cinema buffs is that there's always this one movie that takes their passion from something they used to watch movies during their off times to something they feel really in love with. There's always that special movie that changes your perspective.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I know a lot of movie buffs have that special movie. So I do want to ask you, what is that special movie that changes your perspective and made you feel in love with the cinema making world?
Great. Great question. I have 2 movies that changed my life in many ways. And this was in 1968. I watched them both in 1968, although one of them was a little bit older, by the late 50s. This is the Bob Raffleson's film Soldier Blue.
Yeah.
And the other one is Z, Costa Gavras film Z, just the letter Z.
Yeah.
And why? These films instilled in me something and stirred something that was inherent there, because I studied philosophy in my school days, and I got in love with philosophy and philosophers. And I thought, well, this is politics. Politics is part of the managing people.
Yeah.
It's a philosophy, after all. When I saw Z in 1968, it changed my life in a way that I became more political. I was not apolitical. No. I was not interested. But now I became political in the sense that I pretty much was to the left because of that film.
Yeah.
Because it's against the colonels who, through their coup d'etat in 1967, they removed the king and Greece became a dictatorship.
Yeah.
And the director was originally Greek, but he lived in France and became French, Costa Gavras. It was first political film. It was supported by Algeria, by the way.
Oh my
I got the money from Algeria, but the film is so great. And I introduced it in 2001 on television here. And the other one is Bob Raffleson's film, Soldier Blue. Soldier Blue changed my view of the indigenous American Indians.
Yeah.
They call it Indians. You see, the Native Americans. It changed, first of all, the first time ever, the naming the indigenous people, naming them Indians. By law, they are Native Americans. They are Native Americans. And they changed that completely after the film. First, secondly, the film shows the brutality that has been used with the indigenous people of North America, how they killed like millions of them. And the film shows that. So this changed the world, actually, because everybody was saying, when I was young, so we were watching the cowboy films and all that sort of thing. And of course, we didn't have any idea what's happening.
Yeah.
These are savages and they're killing the whites and all that. We didn't even think about the whites, I mean, the settlers, you see. So I became aware of that and started reading about that. And I visited my first visit to US, I visited one of the reserves.
Amazing.
Reserves they have there for the American indigenous people, to meet them face to face. So it was face to face. It gave me an idea also about their insights, how they look at themselves now after the whites. They took everything from them, and by deceit. Mostly by deceit by the American government.
Right,
Yeah. I mean, this old Arthur C. Schlesinger book about the history of America is very important because he lays out all the facts bare.
Yeah.
It's there. So these two films changed my view of the world, and I started to get interested more in political films, political cinema, politics in general.
Yeah.
And I started writing in magazines that are categorized as leftist.
Yeah.
You see, that's why. And I mean, actually, one of the very high-ranking positions here in Kuwait. 1 year after I came down here, he said, "You are a leftist." And I said, "When I'm proud of it. I mean, leftist means that I want justice for all, and that's it. That doesn't mean anything else. I'm not a communist. I'm leftist. Yeah, that's fine." So that's why when I introduced films, I introduced Soviet films for the first time ever in the Gulf area. I am the one who brought Soviet films here.
Yeah.
And I remember the one film, the first film was Hamlet, Shakespeare's Hamlet.
Yeah.
The best Hamlet ever done in the world was the Soviet version.
I didn't know that.
Gregory Gozantsev is the first one. I showed it twice on television here. And then I remember the censor. He came to me and he said, "Mr. Farouk, don't you think it would be a communist film from Soviet Union?" I said, it's Hamlet. It's nothing
Shakespeare.
communist about it. And he said, no, I don't know the story. I don't know what it's about. No, I told him Shakespeare. You see, so it's easy to understand. It's a play. Don't worry about it. And that's it. And then I started inviting Soviet delegations here for 12 years. Each year we had one Soviet delegation and all that. And I remember the Sheikh Salim, Sabah Salim, Allah yarhamu, he was in Moscow and I was in Moscow. And the ambassador, Kuwait ambassador, told me that he said that because of those delegations in Kuwait, I came down here and we became friends with the Soviet Union. So it's like that.
Yeah.
First time, there's another story. I will not go any longer. First time I was invited through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs here to UAE to inaugurate a film club.
Yeah.
Within the compound. There's a cultural compound, very beautiful in Abu Dhabi. They said, please bring us Farouk AbdulAziz to come down there and introduce a film. I took a Soviet film. And they said, Soviet? We don't believe it. I said, no, look at it. You will enjoy it. Which happened. I have a recording video of me presenting to a very wide audience in a very large auditorium. So it helped. I mean, my role helped a little bit to change views about certain spots in the world.
Right, yeah.
Honestly, that's so cool. And it reminds me of that kind of thing where you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, you know? A lot of things people don't realize is based on propaganda or other things like that.
Yeah.
But just being able to show these movies, you're able to show that people have different kinds of points of view. Not everything is so extreme in one way or the other. People are all people at the end of the day. Everyone has the same inner goals, inner feelings, everything. And that's one of the beautiful things about movies and cinema, is it can really unite people and really connect ideas around the world from anywhere, really. So it's really cool that you were able to do that. And I do want to ask you, because obviously you were able to show movies and watch them, but what made you go from just watching movies to analyzing and criticizing them as well?
Well, actually, my relation to criticism, I studied criticism in my university years. In the Cairo University, I was in the English department, so there is one major there about criticism, specialized in criticism. It brings to me, to everybody, the different schools of criticism. I fell in love in the second year. I fell in love with the method, what they call the not objective correlative. It's the school of objective criticism.
Yeah.
The objective method is centered around judging a work, whether it's a poem or story, short story, long story, whatever, novel, from inside the work, not by any elements outside the work. So I fell in love with that. And especially I fell in love with the T.S. Eliot, who invented that actually in 1922 with his very famous poem, The Waste Land.
Yeah. That's a good
I
poem.
translated The Waste Land to the radio, to the Egyptian radio, the second program, which is specialized as cultural show. And I fell in love with that completely. And I started applying it to a lot of works. One of them is one film, Hamlet, the Soviet Hamlet, which the first time I saw it in a cinema, we are talking, I was like the second year in school, in university. And I watched it and I said, oh my goodness, how vast is this film. It cannot be absorbed in one. And I know Hamlet very well, the play. I love it and love Hamlet. And I memorize a lot of scenes there, especially the soliloquies by Hamlet. But anyway, I said, no, this too much to absorb in one show. I'll come tomorrow. Yeah. I came tomorrow and I started to find out something strange about the music, how it took me from one place to another easily without doing the like the Tom and Jerry music. I call it the Tom and Jerry music, which is this descriptive of a scene. This is sad, this is funny, and the music will work with that. No. Yeah. It's something that's written from also by Shostakovich, which is he was one of the greatest composers and symphonists in Russia. So I went the second day, and then third day I started watching how the director manages with all these crowds, how the actor Nikontis Martinovsky, he reacts to this scene or that incident or that. Then I went to Anastasia. I forgot her father's name, family name.
Is it
Anastasia.
Is it Romanov?
No,
No?
not Romanov.
Okay, I'm thinking like Anastasia.
No. She's an actress.
Ah, okay.
I remember it now. Anastasia, how she played Ophelia, and at the time when she was in the water, dead, how did she react to this and that? So anyway, I started each day for 13 days.
MashaAllah.
Consecutively. Every day I go to the same movie. Every day I go to Hamlet and discover something new and fascinating. This is when you criticize a film from inside.
Yeah.
You don't care about the others, but other elements that formed the films, whether the budget or whatever. No. You because I met directors and working until today in cinemas in the Arab world. They always say, but just note the budget was so. I mean, the producer was so mean. He cut the budget at the end and it couldn't finish the way I wanted and something like that. No. I'll judge the film as is. I don't care about the other elements.
Yeah.
If you are showing the film, you are responsible. The film now has a life of its own, and you get inside that life and try to find out whether it's worth living or not.
I love that idea. I think it really shows the way you can properly criticize a movie and how it has a life of its own. Unfortunately, we are going to take a very quick break, but then I hope we can dive into this a bit deeper. So stay tuned for after the break.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Lujain and Alfaroq, also, there's something that not a lot of people know about me. In the topic of film criticism, I actually have an online film review kind of account.
Oh, no
I've
way.
had like 2 followers for maybe a decade. But, the fun in criticizing movies is always, like you're saying, it's like you're watching movies for the first time. And every time you're doing it, you're seeing something new. Whether it's how the music fits with the scene, whether how the shot is portrayed, whether the actor feels like they're acting or not. Like a lot of these things you take into account when you're writing about a movie. So you said that you went into Hamlet 13 times, and then each time you were discovering something new. So I do want to ask you, when you go with the lenses of trying to criticize a movie, what is the thing that you pay attention to, first and foremost?
Well, actually, it's you can say the total effect of which I get from the film. Total effect. But of course, this total effect comes to me in the first 10 minutes. First, the trigger.
Yeah.
If the film triggers something inside me after 10 minutes, I'm talking about filmmaking, not about the topic, the subject. I don't care about the subject. Let it be about vegetable or cucumber or a very important cause, you see, and political or whatever. I don't care about the subject, because the subject, any fool in the making films, he can tackle any subject, the Palestinian cause, and somebody comes, this film treats a very important cause in our life. I don't care about the cause. How? The history of art is not what, it's how.
Yeah.
You see, there are thousands of poems about love, but what does stand of these until today? I'm sure they are a handful of that everybody remembers. Oh, this is the great story, this is the great poem about love, but everybody writes about love. You see songs here and there, poems. So the point is, the history of art is not what, it is how. So I judge by how. If you don't, during the first 10 minutes, take me into and let me get inside the film I'm watching, you fail. And funnily enough, I found the very good and very well-known Richard Town, with his very well-known scriptwriter in Hollywood. He produced a book. When I read the book, he said the same thing. 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes tells you if the film, where a film is going, whether it's worth watching or not. So I watch films on this basis. And unfortunately, sometimes some of the young filmmakers here, whom I respect, some of them are very talented, but they don't have the, I'll say they have the capability, but don't have the resources. To get into, or they come into very high budget stuff. You see, they will come to me and give a script, and like Dasha, you can see the minister. Why don't you go there and then convince him to finance, the Ministry finance this product? I said, the script is good. It needs work. This is maybe first or second draft. It needs work. It might need a doctor to work on it. But the budget is so high, I'm sure not the minister, not anybody will certify that, will go for that. No. So it's the first 10 minutes that grabs me into a movie. Sometimes they invite me to the screening of the first film here, and I feel so sorry, because after 10 minutes I would sneak out, and he will be there, the director, and say, "Oh, where are you going?" I said, "Oh, no, I forgot. I mean, I must leave because I'm really I can't find an answer. Actually, it's so shameful. But anyway, this is the way it is. So if a movie doesn't, if a work, because the movie is a work of art.
Yeah.
Work of art means art. When you say this guy is artful, means he's in a way he can do things subtly. If the movie doesn't subtly take you in, and you feel yourself, you are grasped into his story.
Yeah.
If it doesn't do that in 10 minutes, so what are you waiting for?
It's not working.
You see, and it's how. It's all about how, not about the ideas. Great ideas are smashed down because of the bad work.
Yeah.
Very bad work. Not a good job, bad job. So this is the way it is. I mean, this is how I watch movies since ages. I mean, since actually, not ages, since I was like, I'm talking about 60 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry about that.
No,
Well, I think it makes you an expert in being able
Yeah.
to watch and judge these films as well. But it is really interesting that you said about the first 10 minutes, because I think a lot of us subconsciously are aware of that. Like when you go to watch something, you can usually tell if you're going to like the movie.
Yeah,
or
that's
not.
right. That's
Even if you don't know the whole story yet, like you'll sit and you'll watch, and it's like, if it doesn't capture you, and it is like in the first 10 minutes, you're like, I'm not going to like this movie.
Yeah.
Even without being a critic or anything,
Yeah,
that's
that's
kind of
right.
more instinctual thing.
innate, yes.
Yeah, it's innate. You're sort of like, this movie isn't for me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get this movie.
Yep.
And it is true what you said. You can have so many different kinds of films. There are movies that might have a super high budget, but they're executed poorly. Or movies that have a really good idea, but they don't have the resources to back it up.
Yes.
And it's a bit sad those times, because you can get so much going on if you just had, if you do things in the right way. Like you don't need sometimes so much money to make a movie really good.
Yes, that's
It is
right.
always about like good writing, good direction, good cinematography.
That's right.
Goes a long
That's
way.
Right. That's right. And there are a lot of examples of very low budget, or I call them sometimes no budget films, and they are great, and they won Oscars because although they are no budget.
yeah.
So, and I can give you a lot of examples about that.
Some of them even become cult classics, I've noticed, even though they're like shot really poorly or something, but there's something in it that makes the audience love them.
Yes.
So people just want to watch it,
Yeah, like for example, Quentin Tarantino with Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, he shot that movie for like
yeah.
probably some spare change that he had.
Right.
And then the movie catapulted his career.
Right. That's
Also,
right.
Robert Rodriguez, when he made
Yes.
Desperado, which was, I believe it was called a different name, also catapulted his career. Even Steven Spielberg was doing like videotapes with his own camera recorder before going into. So, like you said, it's not about how you use the money. I mean, how much you have money, but how you use that money.
Actually, I read a book written by Rodriguez
Oh, Robert Rodriguez.
when I was studying at the New York Film Academy years ago, 20
El
years ago.
Mariachi, that was his name.
Like 1997. I was there for a very ultra condensed program for the people who are advanced in filmmaking and understanding films and all that sort of thing. And I was actually given a scholarship by Hartford Foundation to for those who are advanced. So they paid my fees, and I attended that course. Very condensed, and I read that book, Guerrilla Filmmaker. Guerrilla filmmaker, and how he went to hospitals and
he sold plasma blood.
We like, yeah.
He sold his plasma blood also.
Yes, to play like a rat. They take blood from him, and they experience. Yeah, they did a lot of things with him to pay him some money, and he did the mariachi. The first one, of course, was like everything, no budget at all. He did with friends and here and there. And then it attracted Universal, so they said, we'll finance you, do it. He did it with Antonio Banderas. You see, and Salma Hayek.
Yeah.
So the thing is, and he got into the film industry, the thing is that it doesn't need a budget to make a good film. That's why I tell all the young filmmakers here in Kuwait, I tell them, don't wait for a budget. Do a good film. If you are, first of all, you have to be, I would say, an intellect. You have to read a lot. You have to know a lot. For instance, do you know anything about psychology? No, I did not study psychology. Read in psychology, because writing characters is about psychology.
Yeah.
You're dealing with people, not just names, and you give them like he behaves in this way or in that way. That's the main fault in the major fault in Arabic production, film production, script.
Yeah.
Script, if you have a good script, how can you have a script? First, psychology, because you're dealing with characters and you have to study psychology in order to understand those. I did study psychology for that.
Oh, mashallah.
You see, myself. Because I was producing a film in 1985, and in Egypt, and I got the finance, everything. The guy paid me full from the start, and he didn't see one single scene that I shot. He doesn't know me except that Farouk AbdulAziz knows about films. Yeah. That's all. And he was insisting for 3 years, come work with me.
Oh,
and it's a fancy building and a fancy company, everything. He doesn't care about the money, but he wanted good product, and there I was, and but he was not convinced the way I'm producing. I said, you leave me. I'm not working for a film to be shown in Eid or shown in some occasion. Let me free. Because I do my research.
Creative freedom.
Yeah, that's right. It was about addiction. Heroin addiction and all that sort of thing, and he wanted a certain actress to play, and they said no. So we got in differences, but anyway, until today he refuses to take his money back. I said, I didn't do the film, so because we got into a lot of differences. Yeah,
and also, going back to your point, is that filmmakers nowadays have a lot of excuses, but the tools that they have is within their hands, because Steven Soderbergh, who made the Ocean movie, who made Heist, he made a movie that was nominated for an Oscar called Tangerine. He made the movie entirely on his phone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So the tools are here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, when you watch his film Jewel, 1972, he said he shot it in 16 days, because it was a jewel between a truck, very huge truck, and a car, salon car, the usual little car. And the truck driver, for one reason, he antagonized this car without knowing who's driving it. It's not personal. And the whole entire film is about that.
Yeah.
And it brought the attention of Universal to him. And that's how he got Jaws.
And he's amazing. He's very efficient.
Yeah. See, and Jaws made him. Actually, Jaws made him. 1974.
Like, that's another movie that's become like a cult classic as well.
Yeah, yes.
I feel like we've had a really amazing discussion. I really loved your take on everything, because it's so, like, we're honored to be able to hear from someone with your reputation who has so much knowledge on these things, because it helps us as well, and I think the audience too, to really know how to watch a movie, how to understand things. So I want to thank you for joining us. I'm sorry we're short on time, but it's been a really amazing conversation, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, honestly, very well said, Lujain. Thank you so much, for being a movie buff, across the years. To talk about movies on the Untold is always a very pleasurable time for me. So I do want to thank you again and again. With that being said, we are going to take a very quick break. We'll come right back after. Well, unfortunately, that's all of the time we've had here on the Untold. Honestly, Lujain, we didn't even go through a lot of our questions because sitting down with Farouk and talking all about his history, his stories, his amazing journey so far has been just so enchanting, has been so, I would say, enthralling.
I agree. I think it's so cool that he started off just as an avid lover of cinema. His father took him to cinema many days a week as a reward for his good grades, which is, really great motivation for a lot of people. And the fact that he was able to take watching movies and that it hit him emotionally, psychologically, and made him get both into politics and also film criticism, it's just really wonderful to hear about.
It was honestly wonderful to see his passion about movies. When we asked him about his favorite movies, he mentioned stuff that I think only movie buffs would know about, right? So the idea that he just loves movies and I would say breathes, movies was so amazing to watch. As someone who loves cinema, seeing someone who has a lot of passion for this cinematic medium has been so, heartwarming for me.
And I think it was really cool how he pointed out that if you don't love a movie in the first 10 minutes, regardless of, the actors, the budget, or anything, it really tells you if you're going to like the movie or not. How in the first 10 minutes, you can know basically how the movie is going to hit you and how the emotional resonance you get from a movie can go a long way in terms of enjoyment and also in the movie becoming epic. I also just really loved hearing how he was able to use cinema as a bridge for connection, for, knowledge. And I really think we just learned so much from talking to him today.
We did learn so much from him. Hopefully the audience have learned as well. With that being said, that's it. That's it from us, the team of The Untold. Until the next episode, goodbye for now.
Goodbye and see you next time.